We can start. Shalom, how are you? I hope that all of you had a good week, and thank you very much for joining. Today we are going to continue on our journey and speak about a different story. I'm using the word different since once you're saying a title to this class, you can claim or gives an argument to what you think. The scholars called it the second story of creation. I would use today the word different a lot, since I think once we say different, we can give after many questions, try to give answers and speculations about what we have today. And I hope, of course, that all of you will enjoy. Thank you very much for joining. And let us start. First of all, as always, with the blessing. And let's say hello to Della. Della, everything is okay?
Yes, it is. Everything is fine.
You had a good week?
I've had a good week. My sister's having a bad time. Her husband has Alzheimer's, and he has roamed off, and they can't find him.
Oh, I hope that he will be found.
Yeah, so I'm fine, but she's not. I feel bad for her.
Let's pray that everything is going to be okay, dear friend.
Yes, I hope so too. Now, my mouse is not working, so how do I move the pictures off if my mouse doesn't work?
I'll try to do it myself, but it's something that I can do. But
okay, they're going to the left. Okay, that's good. I can see now. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Kimale Haaretz de'ah et Adonai kamasim layam mekosim.
Amen, amen, dear friend. And we're starting our story, our different story, from the middle of verse 4 in Genesis 2. Let's see what we have here first of all. Go ahead.
Okay. Beyom Ashot. I'm sorry. I have to stop just a minute. I have to collect my thoughts. My mind is someplace else. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Beyom Ashot Adonai Elohim Aretz Veshamayim Vekol Shiach Hasadeh Terem Yi Va'aretz Vekol Sev Hasadeh Terem Yitzmach Ki lo hi metir Adonai Elohim al haaretz the Adam hayin la avod et haaret adama ha'adama ve'ed ya'ad min ha'aretz vehish ka et kol penei ha'adama.
Yafé meod, excellent. Thank you for your reading. Now, from this point on, we can see that God has another name, Adonai Elohim. Okay, until now we've seen Elohim. And now we can see also Adonai. I remember when I was in second grade and when we start to read in the Bible, so the question of the teacher, what is new in this chapter? And I remember that you students said the word Adonai, okay, the 4 letters. This is something which is new. However, this is not the only thing that is new here. We're speaking about Beyom, a day. The word asot is from the root asa. We've seen vayas. This is the word that is already familiar for us from the first story. But things are different here. First of all, the name of God, as we said. There is a day here and not 7 days. Why we're speaking about one day or a day with maybe a different meaning? We can see Eretz v'Shamayim and not Shamayim ve'aretz. The first verse of the Bible, of the scriptures, is Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Here we can see Eretz v'Shamayim, so this is also a different order. So it's the same meaning, but it's also a difference. And it seems to be that we are joining or coming back to a situation which is different, since there is no herb, there is no grass, there is no plant, there is no rain. You can see the word terem, there is no man to serve the land, to work in the ground. From the other hand, we can see that there is a kind of source of water. Ve'ed ya'ale min haaretz, ve'ishka et kol pnei ha'adama. So the Lord didn't give yet rain or didn't give water, but there is a source of water which is called Ed. Maybe some would say it's a geyser, but if it's watered all the land, the face of all the ground, so probably it's a source of water that can have a quantity of water that needs to be watering the ground. Something which is really interesting. Many times we can see the connections between dam, blood, Adam, Adam, and Adama, ground, and this is in chapter 4 in the story of Cain and Abel. But not always it seems to be that we pay attention to Ve'ed, this is the mist, Adam and Adama, Aleph Dalet Mem Sofit, and Aleph Dalet Mem and Hey. This is something which is really important to pay attention to. You can't see it, of course, in English, but the letters of Hebrew are giving you this information. Victor raises his hand. Just one moment, Rod. Victor raises his hand, and then I will let you speak. Yes, Victor.
So the first verse, the Lord God made the heavens and earth and the heavens. So the word made is a salt or a sa. That's different from bara, right? Created?
Yes. We are going to see by a different word of creation, we're going to see the word yetzar, formed. And this is a difference, a really difference, because the word asot takes you back to the word vayas. And vayas, this is a word that we've seen in the first story of creation. However, of course, it's in a different form. Asot is in infinitive construct form, but it's an infinitive construct form that we used as a verb. So it could be here as used in a different way, but it's still a root that appears in the first story as well. But this is also something, of course, that important, because the title of the first story of creation is Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz, with no description of time, title. Elohim and Adonai Elohim, it's a difference. And Eretz v'Shamayim is also a difference between Shamayim ve'aretz. So it's really important. Rod, what you wanted to say, dear friend?
The view that I've heard is that the first chapter of Genesis was copied by Moses from an earlier record. Hence, the Tetragrammaton not there, because it was to Moses specifically that God identified himself by means of the Tetragrammaton. And that would have been reflected in Moses' own words, starting with chapter 2. It's just an idea.
First of all, it's really interesting to hear this idea, though that I must say, before we shall continue, the method that I will try to use is always, for me, I think it's really important, and also for my students, it's good to give answers. But first of all, let's see all the information, and then we can give, we ask the questions, and then we'll try to give explanation. There are many options of understanding the two stories of creation. Are there two stories? Is it one after one? Is it one that is more specific and one which is more general? There are many aspects, and we can speak about them. But I think it's really important, before we can show the different branches of the same tree, let's learn first of all the basic of the tree, so we will have more information to ask the questions, and then to try to give the answers. I think that what you're doing is something which is really natural. When we see something which is different to us, we'll try to give explanations to, okay, what happened here, why it's different. But I think it's sometimes we can lose something which is really important. First of all, to see all the picture which is different to us. And then we can ask, of course, if it's a different picture, if it's different branch, if it's a different tree. You know, there are many options and metaphors that we can use. I must say that the source theory that speaks about two different stories are actually things that the first story is later than the second one. That what we can see here is a version or an option which is, I'm saying, earlier in time. Of course, we can see we cannot see here what is early and what is late, but if we take what is according to the common source theory, so the first relates to what we're calling the priestly code, the P, and the second is to the J code, which is J, the name of the Lord. But let's stop here and not continue, since I don't want this to be the focus of our lesson. Since we are gathering, you know, on our journey, we're gathering some points that will help us, I think, that to identify first of all, and then to decide what we want to take, and how we look at the text itself. So from what we can see here, there is a source of water. This is the Ed. There is no grass and herb. There is a land, but there is no grass and herb and plants. And this is with explanation, because the God didn't bring water, didn't bring rain. There is no man yet. And then the situation here is starting with a general explanation. And then we are moving to the next verses. Just one moment, and let's see what we have here. Victor, can you read it to us? Okay, I'm muted. Okay, go ahead.
Vayitzer Adonai Elohim et ha'adam apar min ha'adama vayapach nishmat ha'im vayhi ha'adam v'napesh chayat vayita Adonai Elohim gam va'aden mikedem. I can't see the vowels here. Vayafem sham et ha'adam asher yatzar.
Excellent. And I want to show you something which is really beautiful. Just one moment. If I'm in a lecture and I forgot to mark something, so just in a moment I'm coming back with Zoom to my computer. And then, as you can see, it's already done. Let's just press this and this and this. And you can see now that the beginning of verse 7 and the end of verse 8 ends with the word Yatzar, which is form. It's not bara. It could be, when you take it one against one, it's the same idea. But still, it's different. And as I was saying, I'm using the word different. I'm not giving yet the explanation. There is a different way to create the man. First of all, it's a man, only one person, from the dust of the ground with the breath of God that makes him a living person. So this is unlike the image of God, together, male and female. It's different here. It's something which is more personal. It gives God is more close to the man here in the story. We can really feel the creation, as one of my students said, it's like to play in the mud in the seashore, that you're creating with the mud, with the sand, you create creatures. And then it's not just the creation, it's also God is planting a garden. The garden, it's not the Garden of Eden as we speak about the next world today. It's a garden that placed in a place called Eden, and it's eastward of something. And the man is put there by the Lord that formed him. The actions of God here are actions that you can see Vayitzer, Vayipach, Vayita, Vayasem, many actions that eventually create a man that is put in a place, and a specific place. In the last lecture, in the first story of creation, we saw the man, male and female, of course, in the big world. Now they need to be fruitful and multiply and subdue all the animals and to spread in the world. No, but here it takes us to a really specific place, a garden in a place called Eden. And he's alone. Now let us see how the story continues and move now to our friend Doug. How are you, Doug? Everything is good?
Shalom, Ellie. Everything is pretty good so far. I'm in court again tomorrow. I met with my inspector. I've made progress today. I worked in the heat 4 hours. Got things taped up, not finalized, but a lot better. I can send pictures if anyone is curious.
Thank you, dear friend. Thank you, Toda Rabba. We're really happy to hear.
Good, good. My oldest dog is really having a difficult time. I have to pick him up almost every time we need to walk. But, he gets up maybe once or twice a day on his own. So he's still getting around, and I'm working on giving him better food. He's getting chicken broth with his kibble to help mushify it, and he gets puppy food now. He seems to like that a lot, moist puppy food. So we're coming along. Okay, let's back to creation of trees and food and tree of life, the tree of knowledge of both kinds, and the 4 rivers. Oh, by the way, in the Facebook group, I posted an interesting geographical picture of the location, supposedly, of the garden and the 4 rivers. How accurate it is, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Vayatzmach Adonai Elohim min ha'adama kol nechmad Lamareh Latov Lama'achal Hachayim Betoch Hagan Va'etz Hagaat.
Sorry.
Oops, am I on the wrong verse?
No, it's okay.
Okay. Hadaat Tov Vara. Nahar Yotze Ve'eden lehashkot et Hagan umisam yipared v'haya le'arba'a rashim.
Excellent. So God continues with his action after he planted, after he put the man. Now he created different trees that are pleasant to be seen and good for eating. And this is the first that these trees are their explanation, their significance are trees that you can eat. There is a tree that we can see its location in the midst of the garden. This is the tree of life. Since there is no death yet, the tree of life is something which is abstract to us. Afterwards, we can say that this is a tree that gives you an eternity if you eat, or a longer life. And there is a tree that is giving us two different elements that are opposite. It's a tree of knowledge, and it's good and evil. That's it. With no explanation yet, it's just something which is, it's a really specific description, since we are located in a place, no matter, by the way, where its location, the garden in a place called Eden, but we can focus. It's like to look at Google Earth, and instead of looking all the globe and the first story of creation, now you're focusing at a place on planet Earth or in something else, but you're more specific, and then you're more and more specific. You're in a garden, and then you can see the different trees, and you can see the four heads of the river that watering. By the way, the river watered the garden. The mist, the head, is watering the face of the ground, but there is no rain yet. Yes, Victor, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, we're talking about water and trees and things like that. But now man, humankind is now going to like Mars and the moon and things like that. Mars. Do you think God has any idea about, or does he have like trees and water and other planets, or is he just focused on Earth? He just wants to talk about Earth? Because now we're going to other planets now, don't you think?
I think it's
Like,
the million-dollar question. What is this creation? Is this
okay.
creation is the creation only of planet Earth, or this is the creation of everything, all the galaxy that we know, maybe the galaxies that we don't know? And I think that as more as we continue, we are focusing in more and more specific place, and then specific people, and then we can try to from this place to all the world back. Once we're speaking about all the world, the question is, what is this world? Is this only planet Earth, or even more? I'm not sure that we can answer this question, but it's important, of course, to bring it up to the story, since it takes us to a different understanding of the creation when we look all the galaxy. In any case, let's see the names of the rivers and what is the function of each river. Let's ask Ro to read to us, בבקשה.
Shem ha'ahav pishon hu hasovev et kol eretz ha'chariyah la havilah. Oh yes, okay. Esel sham hazov There's good gold. Yes. Okay. Uzaha Aretz Ha Hahi or Tov Sham Ha Bedolah Aven Even Ha Shoham where Shem Hana Hashne Gihon Hu Ha Hasovev et Kol Eretz Kush, Africa. The name of the third river. Okay. Shem Hanaha Hashlishi Hidekel Hu Halo Halach Akadman Ashur Assyria. Okay. Where Hanaha Har Be Hu Frat. This is interesting because there's other cases where the word for and has been accidentally included in the word. So the fourth river is not Euphrates, but actually Frat.
Fine. Today we know Prat and Chidekel. We know also the name Gihon. Pishon is not a place or a river that we know.
Hiddekel is Tigris, isn't it?
I'm sorry?
Hiddekel is Tigris.
Prat and Chidekel are the two rivers that we have today in the Middle East. Gihon is a small river. It's also the name of the company that we pay the water to. It's near to Jerusalem. And Pishon is a name we don't know today. What is interesting is that if we look at the geography, Eretz Kush relates more to Africa, to Ethiopia. About Eretz HaChavilah, we know that the main idea is that we can see here gold and onyx and bedellium, which are metals that we know it's from there. It's really interesting that even before the creation of animals and women, we can see some elements here. Even if it's an anachronism, it's written before. And it seems to be that this place that is eastward of some place is really, it has a geography, but the geography that we have today is not exactly as the geography that we can see in the story.
Thanks to the flood?
It could be thanks to the flood, thanks to other things, but it's interesting what we have and what we don't, because in this story we can see 4 different places, the places of the river or names of the rivers, and also different 4 locations more or less. And it's really specific. If in the first story we didn't speak about a certain place, we spoke about the world. Here it's more and more specific, and in the second story of creation, or as I said, the different story that we have here, or the different, it seems to be that we are in a different place. And it's like when you look at the globe and then start to move and see different places, or with Google Earth or with your hand, it depends, of course, what you use. And in our story, it's 4 different verses. It's really important because you look at all the second story, it's 22 or 21 and a half. 4 from the 21 and 22. It's about names of rivers that has some places one place is with gold and onyx and bdellium. It's amazing. And these are the verses that usually people seems to not pay attention because the story is so interesting. So you look at the creation of the animals and the creation, of course, of the woman, but still it's there. And if it's there, we need to ask ourselves why and what is the influence on our story. Okay, let's continue and see more. And this time, let's ask Sharon to read. Go ahead.
ויקרא אדוני אלוהים את האדם ויניחהו בגן עדן ליד something da ולשמרה וצק ויקרא אדוני אלוהים על האדם לאמור מכל עץ הגן אשר תאכל ומעץ הדעת תור ברא לא תאכל ממנו כי ביום אכלך ממנו מות תמות.
Beautiful. And here we can see not just that we are in a specific place, there is a specific function of the man, of the specific man that was just created or formed. God took him and put him in the Garden of Eden in order to serve, in order to keep it, in order to dress it. So he's a keeper and he's working in the ground, agriculture. Specific thing, not to be the big boss of the world with the female, no. Something which is different. And it's also the first rule or the first commandment. The first story of creation, it seems to be that those two just have to be the big bosses of the world and control everything and to rule over and dominion. But here, the specific man in the specific place with specific workers, a specific rule. You can eat from all the trees of the garden. There is one tree. It's called the tree of knowledge, good and evil. You can't eat from it. Once you're eating it, you will die. Whether it's the moment of eating or that the moment of eating creates a day of death. But there is a commandment here. There is what we're calling tzav. Vayitzav Adonai Elohim. Now, one of the questions that is not asked, we're not going to give an answer, of course. This is the idea. How can you command a person that you just created, that is just with the first steps? There is no here a matter of, I am God, you're the man, I'm in charge of you. No, we can't understand yet the relationship. We know, of course, who is the creator and who was created. But still, it's not something that it's clear to us. Of course, it will be clearer as more we continue in the Bible, but here it's when God is giving a commandment. So when you enter school, for example, so you know this is school, there are rules, you understand the relationship. Here I'm not sure that in the beginning the relationship is so clear. There is a kind of relationship, of course. But this is what we have in our story, so we need, of course, to focus with what we have and not what we don't. Victor, you want to say something?
Yeah. Was there a tree of life? What happened if they ate what happens if they ate from the tree of life and then had life first before, they ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil? Did God make the tree of life yet, or that's not yet?
No, the tree of life is there. There are three different kind of trees that you can eat, trees of life, and trees of knowledge good, the tree of knowledge good and evil. There are speculations where it's located, near to the tree of knowledge good and evil, or in another place it's in the midst of the garden. But in any case, from what is written here, there is no, God didn't say don't eat from the tree of life. He just
So
said,
so what happens if they ate from the tree of life and had like life eternal, and then they disobeyed or something like that?
I think that no matter what is happening, even if he ate from the tree of life, when you think logically about what happened in the story, even if you ate from the tree of life and you get eternity, I think that the life that we have here are eternal before the man has knowledge. If you remember the story, of course, of Garden of Eden, we said you lose the eternity, but you get the knowledge. It's like something that you lose is something that you gain. Even if he ate from the tree of life, he didn't understand what is the meaning of eternity. And of course, God mentioned and said, once you ate from the tree of knowledge, good and evil, so you lose eternity. So it doesn't matter if you ate from the tree of life. From the other hand, let us not forget that once he ate, God drove him out from the garden, so he won't be able to come to the tree of life. So from this understanding, it seems to be that he didn't eat or didn't understand what is the meaning of eating from the tree of life. And then once he sinned, he lost the ability to be an eternal, but he gained the knowledge. Yes, Rod, what you wanted to say?
Actually, I think you answered my question. The fact that the couple were thrown out of Eden, so they could no longer access the tree of life, indicated that they would no longer live forever.
Yeah. And I'm always saying, let us not forget there are options in this story that they would eat from the tree of knowledge, and then they would eat from the tree of life, and then they would be like God. They would be eternal and the knowledge. But it didn't happen. If they didn't eat from the tree of knowledge, they probably would have lived forever, but without knowledge, without understanding of what they are doing, or they understand, but just a specific understanding, as I'm about to claim. And on our story, just one moment, Sharon, please. On our story, of course, we know that they ate from the tree of knowledge, good and evil, and they got knowledge, but they lost the eternity. Yes, Sharon, bevakasha.
I don't see in the Bible where it says any place where there's fruit on the tree of life. So are we just assuming there is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We know from other mythologies, the Epic of Gilgamesh, we know that there was a kind of a flower that gave eternity, and Utnapishtim, who is the hero, wanted to have this, and the serpent actually took it from him in the last moment. The flower. I don't remember exactly where it's in the Epic of Gilgamesh, but it's there. Let us continue to see more information. And for this, Claire, yeah.
Okay, it has to do with the tree not bearing fruit, but not all the trees that are edible bear fruit. There's the what is it? In my translation, it says the oaks of Mamre, but it's terebinths. The leaves of the terebinth are medicinal, and so, and we know from the Book of Revelation that eventually God's going to allow mankind to eat from the tree. That the leaves will provide healing for the nations. So I think it's really probably, I don't know. He didn't allow Adam and Eve to eat from the healing tree, or anyway, it's just a different perspective. I'm super tired tonight, anyway. So hope that made sense. But I'm happy to read. Okay.
Go ahead.
I can. Okay. Vayomer Adonai Elohim lo tov heyot ha'adam levado. אעשה לו עזר כנגדו. ויצר אדוני אלוהים מן האדמה כל חיית השדה ואת כל עוף השמיים ויבא את האדם לראות, excuse me, מה יקרא לו, וכל אשר יקרא לו האדם נפש חיה הוא שמו. ויקרא האדם שמות לכל הבהמה ולעוף השמיים ולכל חיית השדה, ולאדם לא מצא עזר כנגדו.
Beautiful, and let's do something which is can help us. Just for a moment. Oh, yes. Okay, it's not working. Okay, I wanted to do something that will help us. So first of all, let's mark this. It's אעשה לו עזר כנגדו, ולאדם לא מצא עזר כנגדו. Saved it, and one more time. It's here. So when we look at what Claire just read, we can see that the Lord is saying, okay, it's not good that he's alone. Let's make him someone that will help him. First of all, the Lord God created all the animals, the birds, and he brought to the man in order to the man that would give a name. Once the man called him or gave him name, he created a living creature. So here the man is actually helping in the creation. If there are animals and animals and birds, after calling them by name, they became creatures. And if he's calling them by names, it's at least have a little bit knowledge. So because you can't give nicknames or names to people or to creatures if you don't have any knowledge. From the other hand, he's still alone. ולאדם לא מצא עזר כנגדו, and God didn't find. It's really important. The מצא here, it's not that the man didn't find. It's God didn't find for the man. So he's still alone. So we're looking at a person, a man that was created alone, dust from the ground, before the other creatures. And it's really important since on our first story, it was the creatures and then two people or two genders, male and female. Here it's one person, then the animals, the creatures. Still, we have no woman in our story. Let us see what we have now. ויפל אדוני אלוהים תרדמה על האדם וישן. This is the first time that he slept. ויקח אחת מצלותיו ויסגור בשר תחתנה. From one of the ribs he took. ויבן אדוני אלוהים את הצלע אשר לקח מן האדם לאישה. ויביאה אל האדם. As he brought the animals for the man, he brought also the woman for the man. ויאמר האדם, זאת הפעם עצם מעצמי ובשר מבשרי, לזאת תיקרא אישה, כי מאיש לוקחה זאת. The first operation, the first sleeping, the creation of the woman, the man gives the woman the nickname woman, because she was taken from the man. And two things that are really important in order to understand what we have here. First of all, let's draw something here, small drawing. Let's try to do it like this and use a different color. And just a small arrow. Where it is, here it goes. I said that I won't bring speculations, but here it's something that we can't avoid. Of course, we can see something which is different, because if in our first story they both were created together in the image of God and the big bosses of the world, here we can see that she's after. She's after the animals, she's the last one. And I'm speaking about she yet because there is no name yet. One understanding is to say that the word tsela is not in the meaning of free, but is the meaning of side. And then if you take what I just tried to draw here, there are two people that are combined together, and the operation is just to cut in the middle and to create from two that are together, two that are together, but they are not attached. This is one option. In the book of Jubilees, it's written in the first week, the rib was created, and in the second week, he showed him. He showed her for him. It's two different explanations, by the way. Another understanding is to say that the first man was created with the female and male organs, and then God created two different men, two different people with female organ and male organs, and this is also an explanation. And now for the hands that were raised. Victor.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I have a couple of things. So nowadays, you know, woman is like increasing to a point where man and woman are almost like equal, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The women's movement and like women presidents and prime ministers and very powerful women, and women are becoming more powerful. So like, are man and women supposed to be equal, or is it man still supposed to be a little bit higher? Because, you know, woman came out of man, so is that like woman a little bit less than man, or man and woman equal, or what's the story?
That's the $1 million question, I think. And if you
I'd
ask
like to
most
comment.
of course, if you ask most of the people of the world how the woman was created, most of the people will say from the rib of the man. Everyone remembers chapter 2, or not everyone. Most of the people remember chapter 2 or the second story of creation, unless chapter 1 when both were created together and there is a kind of equality there as it should be. And as I mentioned in the European lecture, I think that the only thing that I can do as a man is to give birth. This is my approach. All the other things I can do. And I think this is something which is really important to say in this kind of world that we are living, because it gives us a different understanding of those two chapters, of those two stories. I think that there is a tendency to choose the option of the second story or chapter 2, because it depends who holds the story, who is speaking about the story, who can interpret the story. And what you said about the women movement is something which is really important, and I think that I wish it would be earlier, but since it happens in the last 50, 60 years as an important revolution, everyone should read chapter 1 a lot before they are going to bed, since this is how it should be. The only difference that is biologically that I cannot give birth and women this is the only difference that I know. But this is my approach. Yes, Rod?
Yeah, interesting that in Hebrew it becomes quite obvious that she's called Isha because she was taken out of a man, whereas in English, woman basically means man with a womb and doesn't have that same sense.
Okay, thank you. תודה רבה, Claire.
Thank you. I just figured out how to raise the hand again. If you think of it, because God made a natural creature and person and man, that Eve genetically existed inside of Adam because he took a rib, which is a bone, and inside the bone is a marrow, and marrow is where blood is made. So genetically, everything existed for her within Adam in the blood inside the bone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when he put him to sleep and took that rib, God had every genetic piece of material he needed to form her. And the word Ezer means to help. So whatever he did in that separation time to separate the woman from the man, they need each other equally. Proverbs refers to woman with the same sort of language as wisdom. So man needs the strength of the wisdom inside that resides in women, and women need the physical strength and maybe and other things from men, and it takes the two of them again to create another human being. I just don't see one as like male dominating, the women, because if the woman, like, there is a particular global religious system that covers the women in fabric. I'm not going to name the religion, you probably all already know, and the women are treated as possessions, and but that's not God's intention for woman. He made her to be a Zer to him, to be significant, to be complete. You need a man and a woman. There's a completeness. Okay.
This goes to the next verse that I would just read afterwards. But Sharon, you also wanted to say something?
Yes. Like I said this morning, woman was taken out of the side of Adam, not from the head to be over him, not from the feet to be trod on him, or to be trod on like some kind of a doormat. And that's where I feel that God was letting us know that we're to be equal. And like Claire said, one has something the other doesn't, but they complement each other with what they have. Like you were saying, you can't give birth, you can't nurse. The women can, but the women need strength of a man. And it's just common sense things that they need each other to decide things on. And I think it's a beautiful relationship.
And if we look at the next verses, it's really important that will help us to this discussion. על כן יעזוב איש את אביו ואת אמו ודבק ואשתו והיו לבשר אחד. So there is a tendency to say if the man leaves and cleaved his wife, so he's more important. But if they are they are flesh, one flesh, so they complete each other, and it's something that relates to equality. By the way, both are naked. It's written the man and his wife doesn't have to be that he's more important than her. She's his wife because she has no name yet, and he has. So it's really important once we try to understand this story. It doesn't have to be that the story is not equal. We can say it's less equal because the time of creation from the first one. This is the only thing I think that we can say, because it's different. But it doesn't have to be that it's not equal. I think that the sentence in verse 24, it's a sentence that tries to show us that equality is also here. Yes, Claire.
Okay, so what women need from men is men carry the seed and women don't. So we can't carry a child until we receive the seed.
Yeah, of course.
So I know that seems obvious, with one exception, and that'll be that, which is why after the cursing came, during the cursing, God said that to the serpent that you're going to bruise the seed of the woman's heel, but he's going to crush your head. So you know, I happen to lean towards this being a messianic reference toward the Messiah, because the Messiah cannot be the seed of a man to be pure, because the seed that men carry now will do what Adam did in chapter 5, create a child after his own image and not God's.
Okay, thank you.
Anyway, there you go.
Sharon, you want to say one more thing?
Well, I was just looking at Doug's comment on which came first, the seed or the egg. I would say they both came about the same time. Actually, the man was created first, so I guess the seed would be the one that came first, but in essence, they both came at the same time during creation.
I agree with you. And Victor?
Yeah. So do you think God, God who created everything, do you think he has the same problem? Because remember wisdom, he said wisdom was a female, like a female gender in Proverbs chapter 8. That's what Alex said, Alex's sister. He said Proverbs 8, wisdom was there before the creation and everything like that. So God is like the male maybe, and then wisdom is the female. And maybe there's a thing going on there, kind of like with us here, down here, man and woman.
I think that these are terms that we are using, but I think that God has no gender. That there,
Right.
the idea that is written in masculine singular is because the one that wrote the story is males, or those who wrote the stories of the Bible were males. I think, not in 100%, but I'm pretty sure. And once you're reading to a crowd, so you're reading in the language that you use. It doesn't have to be. And I think that if we will give God gender, we'll make him less.
Oh.
So once you give him specific gender, you say you need, first of all, to be completed. This is, by the way, the usage of wisdom and then Shekhinah and the Torah are not just commentary that people gave without thought. There is a thought of completing God with the gender that people thought that he didn't have. But I think that he has no gender.
Our Father which art in heaven.
I'm sorry?
Our Father which art in heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it still doesn't have they say that there's not going to be a male or female in heaven, so that kind of answers that.
Well, dear friends, as always, it was really nice to be here. Thank you very, very much for our class. I will stop the recording now before we say goodbye. Many thanks, and thank you very, very much. We're just going to wake up and drive to the north of Israel, all our family. Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah, to Rosh Hanikra. It's going to be really nice. So I would say to all of you, Shabbat Shalom, and thank you very, very much. See you
Shabbat
next week.
Shalom.
Same place, the same time.
Shabbat Shalom.
להתראות.